Okay, so the final thing we're going to review for category 5 on exponentials is using technology with exponential functions. So remember, when you are writing or when you are trying to put information into an exponential function, it's going to be y equals a times the value of b to the power of x. A is your initial value. B is going to be your growth or decay factor, depending on if you are increasing or decreasing by a percentage. So we're going to look at this table. We have years since purchased and the value of a mountain bike. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to my calculator. I'm going to do stat enter. Anytime you want an equation, you got to go to stat enter. And I'm going to type in my ordered pairs. So x go in L1, your y values go in L2. And remember, you want to make sure that you are typing them in accurately so that you get an accurate equation. So now we're going to go to stat again, arrow over to calc, and remember your only options are 4, 5, and 0. 0 is what you pick for exponential, and you're not going to see it on that list because there's too many options, so it's faster to press 0. Then arrow down to calculate, and you're going to press enter. All right, so we are going to get A is 1200. My B value is 0.90, which tells me that this is actually 90%. Okay, so this is actually 90%. Okay, so A is my initial value. So this is what I'm starting at. So the value of this mountain bike when I purchased it was $1,200, which you can actually see that initial value in the table. They happen to give us that. And then your B value, that is your growth factor. Actually, it's a decay factor. How did I know it was a decay factor? Because this is less than 100%. Okay? Remember, it has to be above 100%, above 1 if you want it to be a growth factor. So we're going to go ahead and write our equation. So we're going to get y equals 1,200. My decay factor is 0.90. So I am losing 10% of my value on this, and that's all we need to do. And then if you want to make a prediction, we just go to y equals, we type in our equation, and then we either go to the graph or the table to answer whatever the question needs us to. All right, let me go ahead and clear my calculator. Now we're going to do the same thing, but this time they give us a graph. So when they give you a graph, what you have to do is you have to pick good ordered pairs, and you want to make sure that they're meeting at the corners of your grid lines so that you can easily get an x and y value. You don't want to kind of be estimating on this. So I picked out 2 good ones that I could see, and I've got 0 for my x and 10. I'm going to put these in as ordered pairs. And then for this x value, I have 3, and its y value is 80. So now I'm going to hit stat. I'm going to arrow over to calc, and remember option 0 if we want an exponential equation. We're going to arrow down to calculate and press enter. And my y value is 10, and my b value is 2, and that is going to translate or turn into the percentage of 200%. Okay, and 10, that is my initial value. So I know what my starting value is. I'm starting at 10, the number of bacteria in a petri dish. So I have 10 bacteria, okay, and time is being measured in days. And I have a factor of 2, but I need to decide, is this a growth or a decay factor? Well, if this is bigger than 1, bigger than 100%, this is a growth factor. Okay. And then I'm going to put 2 in here, and there's my equation. And now looking at example, that's a word problem. It says the table shows the amount of medication left in the bloodstream after X hours. So our top row is time, and they made it nice and told us that those were X, but we knew it was X because we're talking about hours, so we're measuring our hours. And then the amount of medicine in the bloodstream being measured in milligrams, those are our Y values. Okay, and now we're going to write an exponential function to model this data. So now I want to get an exponential function. So I'm going to go stat enter, and I'm going to type in my x value. So I've got 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 250, 12.5, 3.125. And again, please make sure you type in your ordered pairs correctly and accurately so you can get the best fit data for this. So stat, arrow over to calc. We're going to press 0 for exponential. We're going to arrow down to calculate. And I'm going to write my A and my B. So my A is 200. And again, that is my initial value. So I'm starting with 200 milligrams of medicine in my bloodstream. And then my B value is 0.25, which is going to turn into 25%. So if I started at 100% and then I ended up at 25%, how much did I decrease by? I actually decreased by 75%. So that's how much this medicine is decreasing every hour in your body. You're losing 75% of the medication. And so now I'm going to put this 0.25 because I need the decimal form of the percent in my equation. And then part B, predict the number of milligrams of medicine that will be in the bloodstream after 6 hours. So we're doing a prediction, predict the number of grams and milligrams of medicine and 6 hours. So I've got to figure out, is this an X or a Y number? And if it's talking about time, they're telling me that X is equal to 6. Well, if they're asking me for an X value, that must mean they want a Y value. So now I have an equation. I can go to my calculator and I can type in my exponential equation. And since I'm making a prediction, I'm going to my table. And when X is 6, I have approximately this many milligrams. I have 0.0488 milligrams of medicine in my bloodstream. So after 6 hours, (0.0488) milligrams is abbreviated mg of medicine will remain. Okay, if we want to write this in a complete sentence.